Australia's coolest city sparkles throughout the year, from its balmy summer days that send locals splashing into the surf to chilly winter evenings that leaves the city's cultural treasures free from tourist crowds and ripe for leisurely exploration. Whether you want to know the best time to hit the beach, coincide your visit with standout events like the Melbourne Cup, or simply avoid the peak season crush, here's our guide on the best time to visit Melbourne. High season. December to February. High season in Melbourne brings balmy summer nights, Grand Slam tennis tournaments and music festivals to the city, creating a jovial atmosphere. Temperatures are hot, 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 sometimes uncomfortably so, and the streets and beaches are busy with both international and domestic tourists. Shoulder season. March to May and September to November. Shoulder season in Melbourne tends to align with the months of both spring and autumn. This is a great time to be in the city with fewer tourist crowds and cooler temperatures, meaning you won't work up a sweat quite so quickly. During September to November, footy finals fever hits the city, before the horses start cantering in the lead-up to the Melbourne Cup. Low season. June-August. Low season coincides with Melbourne's winter, bringing cold weather, by Melbourne standards anyway. In reality, temperatures rarely slide south of 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, during the day, making these months a great time for visitors who want to avoid crowds at the city's best museums, galleries and markets. Plus, hotel prices tend to be cheaper too. Here's a monthly guide to what you can expect through the year in Melbourne. All events are subject to change. January. Often scorching, January's temperatures regularly push into the 40s for a few days in a row, but they can sometimes drop below 20 degrees Celsius for a few days too. It's school holiday time, so beaches are crowded. Australia Day, a national public holiday, brings additional activity at the end of the month, as does the Australian Open, where the world's greatest tennis players brave the summertime heat. St. Jerome's Laneway Festival, one of Melbourne's biggest music events, also falls in January, making this a busy time to be in the city. Key events: Australia Day, Australian Open, St. Jerome's Laneway Festival. February. Another extremely hot month, but the kids are back at school, so you'll have more room at the beach. Nights can be uncomfortably warm and, although it's usually dry, there may be the odd thunderstorm. The Lunar New Year goes off with a bang in Chinatown, as it's done for over 150 years, with dragons of the costumed variety roaming the streets. The date shifts between January and February. Key events: Chinese New Year. March. Temperatures can still be unpleasantly hot at the beginning of the month but tend to cool down towards the end. Nights are noticeably cooler and it's generally fairly dry, excluding a few heavy downpours. Excitement levels ramp up a few gears for racing enthusiasts in March, as the Australian Formula One Grand Prix comes to town. Key events: Australian Formula One Grand Prix. April. A particularly pleasant month, with warm days and cooler nights, though you might endure a couple of foggy mornings and strong winds. Rainfall is usually moderate but, this being Melbourne, that can't be guaranteed. Festivals, of both the comedic and food and wine variety, take place in April. Key events: Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Melbourne Food and Wine Festival. May things cool down in May, with occasional overnight frosts towards the end of the month. Frost and fog generally give way to sunny days, but you'll probably strike some overcast and showery ones as well, with winter just around the corner. Good Beer Week, in May, celebrates all things ale, providing a good excuse to knock back local, interstate and international brews with like-minded obsessives at venues all over Melbourne. Key events: Good Beer Week. June. Winter kicks in, with cold weather, well below 20 degrees Celsius, and as low as 2 degrees Celsius at night, sporadic frosts, plenty of fog and cloudy skies. Drizzle dampens spirits but rarely descends into heavy rain. Thankfully, June also plays host to the Melbourne International Jazz Festival, providing toe-tapping melodies to wipe away any encroaching winter blues. Key events: Melbourne International Jazz Festival. July usually contains the year's coldest day, and plenty of layers of clothing are required to combat the icy winds. Fog descends and sometimes doesn't bother leaving, although it's usually gone by mid-morning. This is peak low season and tourist hotspots are quiet. August is often the wettest month, although rain tends to fall more as drizzle and light showers than as heavy downpours. It's still cold, but a few days may creep above 20 C. September spring brings changeable weather, even by Melbourne standards. Be prepared for any combination of wet, dry, cold, warm, windy and calm, even in the same day. Considered by many as Australia's biggest sporting event, the AFL Grand Final takes place in the city on the last Saturday in September. A game that carries the hopes and dreams of Melbourne's Aussie rules footy fans. Expect a fervent atmosphere. Key events. AFL Grand Final. October as changeable as September. October comes with even more variance in temperature. Daily highs are just as likely to be below 15 C as they are to be above 25 C. There's a fair smattering of rain too. Fortunately, moods are easily buoyed by the Melbourne Festival, which sees the city's myriad stages and galleries filled with all manner of performances and exhibitions. Key events. Melbourne Festival. November hot, cold, wet, dry, and completely unpredictable. Some November days swelter in the mid-30s, while others languish below 16 C. Wild storms sometimes strike. The highlight of the month is undoubtedly the Melbourne Cup, one of the world's most famous horse races and the high point of Victoria's spring racing carnival. Everyone gets the day off and a party atmosphere prevails. Key events. Melbourne Cup. December not as temperamental as November but still changeable weather. Hot day sometimes end in thunderstorms and sudden cool changes. Christmas, and all its accompanying festivities, and decorations, adds a crescendo to the month, followed by the annual Boxing Day cricket match at Melbourne Cricket Ground. The month ends in a bang, with $500,000 worth of fireworks lighting up the city's skyline on New Year's Eve. Key events. Christmas, Boxing Day test, New Year's Eve.